boys and girls. So today we are continuing to talk about theme, and I just wanted to go through this lesson with you on how the fact that literature is a model of the real world. Literature is the word that just basically is fictional text that has deep meaning. When we see the world through a piece of literature, we come to conclusions about the real world, and this is theme. Okay, so it's lessons, it's things that we it's not just lessons though, it's anything that you come to the conclusion about the whole story though. So it's these events that keep taking place throughout the whole story that you can apply to real life. So theme is a lot of things, to be honest. A lot of times in fourth grade, I notice that students really get it stuck in their head that it's just this lesson. Well, that's true. It is a life lesson in a story, but it's also the central idea of a story. So, what the whole story is surrounding. So, we want to be really careful not to just think that the one lesson that's learned in a story is the theme. It has to happen throughout the story. So sometimes a character might learn several things, and then all of those things build up to one big theme. So the message or meaning in a story, what the author wants you to learn, definitely. That actually was a question on one of the Google Forms that we went through. It was actually assigned yesterday, and it talked about, asked like, why would the author include a theme in their story? Well, it's because they want you to learn something from the story. They want you to take something away. A theme is also an opinion about what happens in the story. So that's the hard part about theme, is that sometimes you're given themes and you have to choose from them. And then sometimes you're asked to just openly talk about what do you think the theme is. And as long as you can justify your reason with many events or more than one event in the story that takes place that goes with that theme, then that's okay. And that's when it becomes an opinion, because I think that sometimes when people have different things happen in their lives, they see the world differently. And so when you go to read a book, you might see it even from a different perspective than your friend might. But you still have the same events that you're reading. So it's important for you to remember that even though you might feel a certain way about something that happens to a character in a book, it doesn't necessarily mean that the author meant it that way. So that's also something to think about. It's definitely, theme is bigger than just what happens to the character. We can apply it to our lives. So you want to be careful not to identify theme as, the theme of the story was that Sally can now play basketball. Okay, no. A theme is something that's an overarching central idea of the whole story, and it's an overarching lesson that you take away from the story that can be applied to other people's lives. Theme is not what the book is about. It's not a summary. That's where a lot of fourth graders kind of make that mistake. They try to just basically retell the whole story. That's not what I'm looking for. It's not the subject of the book. Okay, so it's not like the theme is about basketball or the theme is about school. Okay, those are categories. That's not really theme. It's not one word, and it's not what happens to the character. So, how do we determine themes? So, these are some questions that you can ask yourself. I don't know about you, but questions really help me help me rethink what I'm doing. It helps me analyze things better. So, definitely asking yourself some questions. So, asking yourself, what did the main character learn? What did they learn? Asking yourself, how did the main character change from good or bad? Did they get worse? Okay, how did they change? You want to ask yourself, what motivates the character? So what's making the character, have that change? And we've talked a lot about character change and how events and feelings and other characters in the story change those characters. So that's where this all of what we've learned so far builds up. We want to look at the conflict and determine who has a problem and why they have it and what they're doing about it. And then as you read, you pause and jot down ideas about what you are thinking. This is huge, especially for you virtual learners out there. Um, I feel like I say it like a broken record, so I would hope by now you understand how important it is. But jotting down in a notebook, on a piece of paper, on an actual piece of paper while you're reading, about anything you're thinking about the story, what it's making you, think of, whether it's something in your own life or another book, some kind of text connection that you have. Writing about what you're reading does great things for you as a reader. So really stop and think about that, especially with theme. All right. So this one, hopefully that little thing will go away. Ugh, I wish I could move this. Can I move it? No, I cannot. Oh well. So this one says, basically it's just like a little informational, almost like an anchor chart here, a visual that I picked up and I liked it. It's like a little cell phone, and we got the author will tell you a story, we'll give you information about the characters, we'll tell you what the problem is, we'll even show you how the main character solves the problem. But the theme is like those three dots that never come through. You will have to infer or figure out what the message the author is trying to send. So I like that, like when you're waiting for somebody to text back and you're just see the little dots. It's like that for a story, a fictional text. The author's not going to tell you straight out like, sometimes in life we should. You might have a character in the story that says like, sometimes in life we should all be more creative or something, but it's very rare. And if that happens, it's probably a pretty low book, and it's probably not even really the central message. It's probably just one lesson that was learned in the book. So you have to infer the theme. That's again why we've worked on inferencing so much, to build up to this point, by figuring out what message is the author trying to send to you based on those details. It's definitely a lesson or truth about life, usually implied but not stated. Again, that just means inferencing. It's there. You kind of know, like if I were to say I'm going outside, I have an umbrella, I have boots on, my feet are wet. What do I know? It's raining, right? So it's that kind of thing. Debatable opinion. That means that you could maybe sit and talk to somebody else about this, and you might have different opinions on what the theme is based on your own lifestyle. And it can often be applied to other stories. That's a big one. So I had my friend Mr. Johnson help me with this because I thought it would be funny mostly. But I really wanted to give you a good visual of some universal theme categories. So what this means is they're not necessarily themes. Sometimes I think I was able to, for the most part, write a sentence about each one. But the theme categories are where you kind of just start thinking about theme, and then you go from there and using details from the story to beef it up. So themes and stories may fit into these categories, but this is definitely not all of them. This is just ones that I've been exposed to the most. And these are just the most common ones that you're probably going to find. Some of these even kind of go together. And sometimes a story might fit into more than one, but what you're looking for is the overarching central theme of the whole story. So we have cooperation, and that means that you're learning to cooperate with others. I tried to get this to work the other day, but it wasn't working for me. Nope, not going to work again. That's all right. All right, so we got our learning to cooperate with others. Then there we go. I like that. And we got my little Mr. Johnson. He's showing me teamwork, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. So cooperating with others, you're working together to basically complete one mission. Okay, so that happens a lot in stories. Then we jump over here to friendship. This is a pretty common one, especially for a lot of fourth grade, fifth grade story level stories, because that's where a lot of friendships are really starting to develop and even can test boundaries a little bit. So that is a good one. But the theme message a lot of times is basically just to keep your friends close. And then we jump over here. We got honesty, true story, real talk, right? Honesty is always the best policy. This is a pretty common theme in stories that, deal with usually a character lying to somebody, and then having to deal with that repercussions. Then we have family. Mr. Johnson, this one killed me. I didn't even add my own because I don't feel like I could do it any more justice than what he did here with this little snappy finger. And he says, "Get it, sis." So families come first. Funny thing is, Mr. Johnson doesn't even have a sister, but he has a brother. Um, but anyway, so definitely, family comes first is a big common theme in stories. When you read books that, you're wanting to make sure that you take care of your siblings, or making sure you're standing up for your siblings. That's a common theme. Perseverance. We got Mr. Johnson trying to push this giant rock up a hill here to model perseverance. Basically, a lot of stories are about, not giving up. We got courage. I don't know. He chose to say nope, nope, nope. I guess to display that I'm the one with the courage. Be true to who you are. That's common theme. Achievement. This cracked me up. We can learn from our mistakes. Hard work. Hard work pays off. That's a pretty common one. Accept. Make sure we're accepting of others for who they are. This is a big common theme of a lot of stories. Now I want this to go away. I don't know why it won't go away. Overcoming adversity, which means nope, that's not going away. Basically, you get through something that is really challenging. So I got my picture of me standing in this deep flooded water with an umbrella, and then Mr. Johnson, I think, is on a phone saying, "Yo, I'm in trouble." But basically, getting through something difficult or overcoming adversity is not the part about actually going through the difficult part, but it's the lesson that's learned to get through it. So an example would be like, say somebody's house burnt down and they lost their job, and then they were able to work really hard, go find a new job, find a new and be able to pay to get a new house, or be able to pay, work enough to where they could rent a new place to live, and their life started to kind of turn around. That's overcoming adversity. Something you go get through something difficult and come out on the other side. Hope, belief in someone or something, and then justice, fight for what is right. So these are all just kind of common theme categories. So as you're reading and as you're learning and as you're doing your task card activity for today, be thinking about like what category you think some of those would fit into, and then it would help you notice that these sentences are just brief ones, but it'll help you kind of come up with a theme a little bit better, or identify a theme that's given to you, and you need to choose the best one, and then putting those stories into a category first, and then going from there and choosing the actual theme sentence, can be helpful at times. So hopefully this helped you get a little bit better visual of different themes that you can see in stories. Hopefully you're also thinking about, what are some stories that you've read in the past, that maybe would fit into some of these different categories. So thank you for listening all the way to the end of this lesson, and I hope that this was helpful, and that you enjoy working on your theme puzzle practice slides, which look like this, and they are attached to your Google Classroom assignment for today. So you only have the directions are on this first slide, and there are 6 different little stories here for you to read through. The themes are over here, so you just kind of sort through them. You can sort through them and push them over here, so if you want to see them one at a time, but you get the general idea as you're sorting through them, putting them here. And then on the last slide, I gave you directions here. If you click on this audio, it'll tell you what to do. And again, the directions are here. But just a heads up, I just want to show you, say I picked this as a theme, which I have no idea. That's probably not the right answer. I'm just showing you. If you right click, hit copy, and then when you go to this is what it's talking about here. You just paste it onto the whatever one you choose. So you only have to choose 2. Again, just listen to the directions here. But you're just going to choose 2 to be able to explain to me with complete sentences what the theme you chose in that box, and then what details from the story show that theme. So anyway, that's your assignment for today. And again, I hope that the lesson helped. These slides actually will be available right here on, if you click here, you can get to these slides so that you can read back through them at your leisure or for assistance. Thank you, and have a